Yes, okay. Your event is starting, and we're live. Remember the 5th of November, because this is the Snap Attack podcast number 18. We have not one, but two guests. We have the average Paul Stubbington. I was gonna say amazing, but I was like, that's just false advertising, so I decided not to.
I suppose it's better than calling me the cheap man's Luke.
Yeah. And then
again,
yeah. And then we also have Charlie, who we met at the Razer event. How are you doing?
Good, yeah. Good.
So, if people want to find stuff out, where's the, what are you working on? Let us know.
I want to get back into YouTube again. I was out of it for a long time because I started college and then stopped college and then started a job, and it was busy. So
That sounds busy to say the least. Yeah.
I guess so. Poorly explained.
So I want to start on a sharp note.
Okay.
Get it? Sharp, because Razer, Sharp, and the screens are made by Sharp. Wow.
Why do we bring guests on here just to put them through this?
Yeah, poor guests. This must be the equivalent of like torture for our guests, if I'm completely honest. Let me just make sure the audio is fine. Yep, cool. So Razer announced the new phone. We were all at said event.
Did they?
Yeah, believe it or not.
I did not know.
Now, Charlie, there's something I want to ask you, because before we started, I perused your Twitter, right?
Mm.
At the event, you were very much about to buy a Razer phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at your Twitter earlier today, what you betrayed us. You stabbed us in the back and gone and bought an iPhone 10.
Yeah. At the
Wait,
Razer
how do
event,
I love the shock on
Twitter?
Paul's face.
Wait, I can hang up.
I was in the process of ordering a Razer phone. I can't remember who it was. Somebody else was there with us, and he said because what happened was they said that my credit check didn't go through straight away, something like that.
Yeah.
They did email me the day after and said your order's still there. We can still go through it with it, but
Yeah, and
I was
there
having
also,
second guesses at that point.
I checked on Friday, and it still is today. The pre-order price is still the cheaper price.
Yeah, but like, I was in the process, and then I had second guesses because I thought, who needs two Android phones? Because a month ago I got myself into a contract with the S8.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna end up paying for two contracts, probably, if I end up keeping the X or end up finding a use for the X, because I just thought, iOS and one iOS phone and one Android phone makes a bit more sense than two Android phones.
Yeah, just to make sure we're on the same wavelength. You are aware that thing is like $1,000 worth of phone, right?
Buy it outright though. I got a pretty good deal on the contract, and when I say a pretty good deal, it's still expensive, but a pretty good deal for an iPhone X.
Right.
How do you go from a Razer phone to an iPhone X? Like, how can you betray us that much?
Guys. It's the iPhone XS.
Yes. Same thing.
So,
no, but if you say X, it pisses off a lot more people.
So playing to the pun game I've already established, to what extent do you like the idea? Sorry, couldn't help it. It had to be done. Oh man. So yeah, it's definitely a very different decision to the one that you were considering a few days ago.
I know. I think that was all in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
With the iPhone, with the Razer phone, because it did look great in person.
It was a gorgeous phone.
I think it is a great phone. The one thing, I can't remember his name, the other guy, the YouTuber that was there that we were chatting with.
Ben, I believe. Actually, that reminds me. Go check him out. His YouTube channel is Lover of Tech. Go do it. Go send him love. Benjamin.
And I was talking to him. He had his, he was comparing. He was making his videos of the Razer phone comparing it with the S8 Plus that he had, and the Razer phone had a very dim screen compared to the AMOLED on the S8.
I mean,
And that
very
was
dim is a bit of an overstatement. Dim,
It did-
I'll grant you that, but very dim is a bit.
It did look quite dim, but that was the only thing. I think it would be a really great phone. It's a very impressive phone for a first phone from a company, better than.
I think that was what really caught me off guard.
Oh yeah,
Because I was expecting them to announce this phone, and it'd be okay, but not great, and it would cost a reasonable amount of money because it's their first phone. And I'd be like, oh, it's a decent first effort.
if I had
But it's
got
a genuinely good phone.
if I had got it, it would have been interesting to see from a consumer standpoint what it would have been like as a first phone from a company, considering software support and tech support and all that.
Yeah.
Because I did buy a OnePlus One when it was quite new, when I was one of the people that got an invite 3 years ago. And they turned out to be, because the whole deal with Cyanogen went downhill, and
That
they
fell
not
apart
support
fast.
software. Yeah, it did.
It's a difficult one though, because that was a new company that had just appeared out of nowhere, whereas Razer are here to stay as such. So
Hopefully, yeah.
well, we hope.
And
so.
I think, Razer are a company with, okay, not Google or Amazon funds, but they have funds to throw behind it.
Exactly.
OnePlus didn't quite have that there. And of course, Razer, because of their reputation, and of course, if they're going to make a phone, they're going to make it for gaming. So, and if you're going to make a phone for gaming, you've got to go balls to the wall with everything about it.
One thing I was skeptical about before the actual keynote, because everybody pretty much already knew everything about the phone. Well, most of the things.
Yeah, because Free accidentally
Before
leaked the product page the day before.
Oh, yeah. But, like, the one thing I was skeptical about is that it said it was going to have a 120 hertz display.
Yeah.
We didn't know how great, because it didn't say anything about that it has that G-Sync-like technology. The one thing I was skeptical about is how the Snapdragon 835 was going to cope with such a high refresh rate and how demanding Android games can get now.
It's interesting because again, this is Razer, right? They have connections with the gaming companies.
Yes, yeah.
And so it seems that they've really made that work. And the worst case scenario is it's got like a toggle in the settings, right? So you can set its rate.
Yeah.
And so I think the worst case scenario would have been it just runs at 60.
Speaking of connections with those gaming companies, it did make me sort of laugh a little bit when Min Lang said I think he said to the audience, "Do you guys like PUBG?" And
oh my god, that game!
He played this horrible. He played this horrible.
Oh my god!
Rip-off. This
No,
horrible
it's
rip-off
just so
trailer.
horrible.
It was like, I think everybody in that moment was thinking, "This is such a terrible rip-off of PUBG," and Razer are enforcing it as well.
I think the other games looked a bit crappy graphics. I mean, the Final Fantasy game looked fine. I think the style didn't need particularly great looking graphics, but the others.
They did a very Nintendo thing of like not making it look realistic on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because if you play
which
like
works
Mario,
in
that
case.
doesn't try to be photorealistic because they know they don't have the graphics for it.
Yeah, whereas with you can't really do that with a game in the style of PUBG. And so what they did in the end is just have a horrible looking game, frankly. It's just like, it's quite obvious what popular game this year you are trying to copy with that. If you're going to copy it, at least make it look good.
Or, the fact that he said, "Do you guys like PUBG?" And we thought, oh my god, PUBG on Android. How the hell is this going to work? It already runs terrible on PC. And then he shows this horrible rip-off.
Yeah. I suppose at least they're not trying to hide what it's ripping off.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I was expecting like Nvidia style, like how they've got the game shadowing.
The GeForce Now.
Yeah, that. I was expecting that kind of deal, but like exclusive of a Razer phone. They're like, oh yeah, if you have your Razer phone and you link it up with your PC, you can play all your PC games wherever you are, right? And I was like, oh, that'd be cool, but nope, they just. God, it just looks so bad.
Oh god, that
The thing is, the best game to play it on as well. Oh, sorry, best phone to play that game on as well is going to be the Razer phone, and the amount of people with the Razer phone is not going to be enough to keep those servers running enough to actually enjoy playing the game. To be honest,
That's
that's
true.
what. Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was kind of like, well, PUBG's got a following to easily get games going, especially considering how long games can be. And that game is basically doomed from the start unless it is well supported by other, even if it's still other phones with Snapdragon 835.
I think it might work, but probably not for long. I don't think.
I think after the hypes went off, it's going to drop even harder than PUBG
I'm
does.
just glad they didn't bundle it with the phone. That would be bad.
Would it though? I guess it wouldn't. Like, if it was a
If
paid
you've got to pay
game-
for it.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't be
if
bad.
it's like a
it wouldn't be
paid
bad
game
for
they
the
bu-
company, but yeah, I don't think the consumers would necessarily like it very much.
Or what if they did not like Nova Launcher, right? Because that's pre-installed.
Yeah, that's
But-
a great thing.
But what if they did it in the sense that like you could redeem a code and get the game for free? So it wasn't installed on your phone, but if you wanted it, you could get it. Like they did with like the Windows 10 edition of Minecraft, right? Where if you
Yeah.
owned the old edition, you just like you were given a code and you could buy it if you wanted it, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that would probably work very well.
Yeah, and whilst we're on the subject of talking about crappy games that have been shown for the Razer phone, that there was one of those games that looked slightly like another extremely popular game that gets a lot of viewers on Twitch as well. It was so
Was that
blatantly
something
a
Was that like
Valor?
a Dota copy? Was that like a Dota copy? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
well, the Valor one,
Dota
it
League,
looked
something like that.
It looked exact. I've not seen much from Dota, but it looked exactly like League. Because I've been watching Emily stream a bunch of League recently,
Yeah.
and as soon as
Uh,
I saw it, I was like, okay, that looks like League. And you saw more of the UI, and it was like, that is just League.
Go to smpy.tech/Emily to go check her out on Twitch.
Check her out.
Yeah, no, she's taken Paul. God damn it, rein it in
Yeah,
a
but
bit.
people
Rein it
still
in a bit,
seem to not
Paul.
care.
Oh man, I guess I go do that. Oh my, I'm really on it with the plugs this week, aren't I? This is great.
Sure.
Oh
man.
man. But yeah, it's it was a blatant rip off, and you know, if we look outside of that, the phone itself looked awesome.
It is a really nice looking phone. My friend, because I was at the event, I wanted to bring my friend along, but I got the last ticket. And he was saying it doesn't look like his kind of phone because it looks quite bricky, but I think that's sort of... I watched, I think it was Danny Wingett's video, and he was saying about how they designed it with the speakers in mind, which is where you'd hold it, you know, if it was a gaming phone. But I don't play that many games, so I think even if I did get it, I wouldn't play that many games on it.
I listen and watch enough multimedia to make it worth it. And actually something that I do miss from my Nexus 6P, because that had the dual stereo speakers and it was a very loud phone as well. With this phone, it's got the one speaker that's quite loud, but it lacks substance, and my hand goes over it. And most of the time,
And it's side
if I'm
firing.
flicking through Instagram, I don't realise that I'm covering up the speaker, and that's why it's so quiet. I just don't notice it.
Yeah, I think
Slightly
actually, sort of changing the subject a bit, but
Go for
I
it.
think it's a great thing that Razer partnered with 3 to get them off the ground a little bit, because I don't know what your guys' view on 3 is, but I've used them for the past few years, and I think it's a great carrier.
I don't have them for this contract, but I had it for the one prior, and I do kind of miss them. I'll be honest.
They have great... They're not as fast 4G coverage as EE, but they don't have a 2G network, so everywhere that you go is 3G or above.
Hey, free.
But-
We love you here, and you should send us free phones. Just saying. Just saying.
But I think with OnePlus, they went with O2, but that was when the 3T came out, I think. And that was a bit... I think it's a good move for Razer to get them off the ground, as well as also having the big YouTube celebrities as sponsors, like Syndicate and Terrorizer. I think his name was also there.
Yeah.
Mini Lad as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to get them off the ground. I don't watch them very much, but I can imagine the sort of shameless plugs that they give for Razer in their videos.
Well, as well as them, because they had them three actually there. But
Yeah.
on top of that, they had like Marquez had it on the day. A bunch of top tech
Lou?
YouTubers.
Unbox Therapy.
Yeah, Unbox
that's
Therapy.
true.
And Unbox Therapy even said in his title, new
Daily Driver.
Daily Driver. That's the one. Yeah, it is going to actually give them a nice kickstart. The fact that they have put out such a remarkably good phone straight away with not really too much of an issue with it, or as known at the moment. Yeah, that hopefully it does help them hit the ground running a bit.
Yeah, I think
What
it's
I
going
will
to be a
say,
good phone. Yeah.
what I will say is, although the hardware seems all okay and all good, I did notice two separate software issues
What was that?
on two separate devices. So Paul, you're gonna have to help me with this. Who was the guy who was sitting closest to me?
Mini lads.
So Mini Lad had an issue with his unit. So they'd been sent the phones like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
And so during the keynote, he had an issue with his phone where all of a sudden half of his screen stopped working.
Oh god.
So if you were to like split the phone down the middle, right, the entire left-hand side was just like the lock screen, and it wouldn't change. And you know, it happened out of the blue, and it was really bizarre. And then like 10 minutes later, it was fine again.
So you were sitting next to him. And
Yeah, I was sitting right
you
next
saw
to
the
him.
phone before Min Lang even made it official.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He'd
Yeah,
been
well,
playing with it like
for-
all event, and I like got to stroke it and stuff. That sounds like a
Wow.
euphemism.
Well, yeah. Well, because Syndicate actually handed me his one like after the event. When we was chatting in the AFK lounge, Syndicate actually handed me his phone to play with, and he said, "Oh, the only thing with my phone, it's not got the camera update because I think the camera quality was like really
Yeah, they pushed it
Right,
on
That's
questionable
something-
before their
that's
update."
something I was skeptical about as well when I was looking at the camera because I know with some phones like they say, oh, the camera's amazing, but it depends on when you get it into the hands of the people.
Yeah.
And I was trying to ask the people. I ended up getting to speak to a software engineer for them that I got a lot of information out of him. I was asking about the camera update and when the portrait mode that everyone seems to have copied from Apple. Just the name even.
I think Apple copied it from Huawei though, if I recall correct. Because I remember
That's true.
I
Yeah.
remember the Mate S we got like 2 years ago to review that had portrait mode. So I think it was like copied off of Huawei.
But yeah, he was saying that was next on the list for priority. So hopefully by the time it's out, it's going to have these updates. I mean, he was telling me that everybody in the team was getting software updates like every single day.
Yeah.
Because they were working on new features, and he was saying that a lot of the team from Nextbit were also trying to make it as pure as possible with Android and stuff like that.
That's what I'm really happy with actually. I'm really glad that it's almost
I
pure
was
Android.
asking- the themes look so
Oh,
corny.
the themes were hilarious. But outside
the
of that,
toaster themed.
Farming
the
Simulator
breadwinner theme was
that
hilarious.
looks ridiculous. But I was asking, can you build your own theme? And he says that they haven't released the theme SDK yet, but they plan on it. So
Yeah, I imagine it being very similar to the OnePlus themes, the CM theme or whatever else called. I can't remember.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, but I would like it if you can change things individually without even making a theme, like the accent color and that sort of thing. Because to be honest, as much as the Razer Green is cool, I would kind of get sick of it on that because it's everywhere.
I still think they should have made the logo on back chroma as well.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
Right.
I was saying that before.
They really missed that opportunity.
I did say that to the
Elite
software
edition.
engineer, and he was saying that there just wasn't enough room with
Yeah.
the battery, and it being 8mm thick already, which is quite thick for a phone now.
Yeah,
It is.
so I was.
It is just about thick enough to fit a headphone jack, though. Just
but,
saying. Just saying.
But I think was it Min Lang said about it, or someone else, YouTube. I'm not sure who said it, but they said that if they had put a headphone jack in, it would have compromised the speaker size, or
Yeah, I think. I think that was the reason.
Yeah, I think that it definitely would have compromised. The
I'm not that
quality
bothered
and
about
stuff.
it though. Everybody talks about But I suppose I haven't had a device without a headphone jack yet. But
Yeah,
I will,
at least
I will
they went.
try it.
Yeah, at least they went the step up of being like, okay, yeah, we don't have a headphone jack, but we do have the THX certified. Take that with a pinch of salt. It may just be a bunch of PR stuff.
You also want to remember that.
Then...
You want to remember that Min Lang is also the CEO of THX.
Oh yeah,
so
that's true.
I
did think that when I was watching
his company certified his other company's software.
It said
hardware.
THX
I'm like,
certified, and I thought, don't Razer own THX now? Didn't they recently buy them?
Yeah, but let's face it, if that is something dodgy, we'll find out about it soon because
I'll
find out.
I mean, I did notice I don't know how the actual how the Razer headphones are, but when I tried them, it was extremely loud, and I couldn't get it up anywhere near max volume because it was so loud when plugged into the Razer.
Yeah, they do seem to have taken a lot of pride in the DAC for that thing because they mentioned it's a 24-bit DAC within that dongle. So
yeah,
the actual speakers on the phone with the Atmos, I did the
those
Atmos
things
demo.
were so loud.
They were so loud, and I don't know about you, George, because I think you did it as well.
I did, yeah. I did it during the second test.
The actual depth of sounds coming from these two speakers. I was amazed by it.
I can't remember. Were we in the same lounge?
We were.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was a press lounge and another lounge, but we
weren't in the press lounge. We were.
Oh, I see. I did try and have a go. I did try and have a go, but it was quite loud in that lounge, so I couldn't hear.
That was what made it crazy for me. The fact that you could still hear it really well. And when me, Charlie, and Ben were having a conversation, I kept hearing the sound of someone else doing that test over our conversation and over the music that was being played.
I did a short test with the Dolby Atmos thing, and it was amazing how you can actually hear stuff like it was almost above you or behind you.
Yeah, and from, I mean, with a big sound bar, that isn't as difficult. It's still coming from one direction, but you've actually got
Did you just say
speakers
one
further
direction?
apart. Yes. Damn it, George. But when in a phone, of course, the speakers are so small, but they're so close together to actually get a differentiation or whatever how you pronounce it between the directions of sound where they're placed and all that is remarkable. That was a lot of speaking.
That was... So, I think we should transition from dongle life to headphone talk.
Not one dongle phone to another dongle.
No, we can come back. I feel like we can come back to that.
Headphone talk.
Headphone definitely links to.
So Microsoft announced. Well, I say Microsoft announced. Someone found a Microsoft patent that shows that Microsoft have basically developed a foldable headphone jack. I guess that's the way of describing it.
I think I did see that, but it was. I didn't see very much of it. As far as it seemed like to me was that it sort of collapsed when.
Yeah, and
expanded when you put the jack in the actual slot itself.
Yeah, so
that's
the best
what it
way
seemed
to
like.
demonstrate it is with. Hang on. So I've got some paper here, right? And the idea that it would be flat, but you'd sort of plug your headphone in, and then it would arch over, right? So it would be holding it tight against the thing. The interesting thing is this patent was filed about a year ago, right? So it's only just been surfaced. But it's about a year old, which means that it was probably initially planned for the Surface phone, but Microsoft then killed off Windows Phone basically entirely, which means that they have nothing to put this on apart from laptops, and they'd have no real reason to stick it on a laptop at this current point in time.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of what they used to do with the Ethernet port for laptops.
Yes. Yeah,
just with a bending version rather than a folding version.
That is a good point, because I know the laptop Ethernet ports, they did there was the flap that
they flap down. And that was a great way to do it, because you could have the thinness that you want in a laptop, but still not giving up the Ethernet jack, Ethernet port, which is still a very useful port to have on laptops.
I do have.
If you don't use dongles.
Just to prove the usefulness of Ethernet, I actually have. How long is this cable? I can't remember. I think it's I think this is like a 40-meter RJ45 cable.
Oh yeah, I
it's-
use one in my own
it's like
room that goes
Cat
all the way
7.
around the room
It's
to the
Cat
router
7
that's next to
10
me.
gigabit Ethernet cable.
Actually, that reminds me. When I'm moving in the next week or two, and when I do, I need to take up the 20-meter cable that goes from my wardrobe just over there, out onto my landing, down the stairs, round the entire living room to the router. That's all pinned down.
Oh god.
That sounds like fun.
George, you want to help me tidy up?
Not
and
particularly,
pack
no. Actually, when?
up? Probably week after this one. Actually, maybe even this week, packing up.
Maybe. We'll see.
Because there's a high chance my moving day is not this Thursday, the Thursday after, or Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if I'm back from.
I'm looking at the link for this patent, but
Yeah, it's just the pattern.
Oh.
It's a wall of text. I'll be honest.
yeah, there's no
I just
illustration or
used.
anything, is
So
there?
if you scroll down to the bottom,
there is-
there's a red button that reads images. And
I just
then-
googled Microsoft 3.5.
I see it now. Oh, so it doesn't expand sort of lengthways. It expands sort of
Yes,
outwards.
yeah. So if you imagine it being
Yeah.
like flat and then it like pops. Yeah.
I can sort of. This is the thing. I don't think we're that far yet, where thinness is going to stop a headphone jack being able to be installed, because batteries in the thinnest laptop I can think of, the 12-inch MacBook.
Yeah.
I
I think Lenovo would
still
like to.
got.
I think Lenovo would like you to know that the Yoga is actually the thinnest. The Yoga
Has that got a
whatever,
headphone
13.
jack? That's the
I believe
question
so.
I've got.
It does, yeah.
Even on the 12-inch MacBook, that's the only one I can think of visually.
That's the only port it has. Like,
There's
it
like
doesn't have anything else.
there's still a couple of millimeters of space
Yeah.
either side of the headphone jack. So I don't think that the headphone jack is going to compromise how thin we can get devices yet. Maybe in future, but
Well,
that's
it
still-
will. Laptop devices more so
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
phones.
See, I when I at first I didn't know how they'd done it, what this all was. I just saw about Microsoft reinventing the headphone jack or something, a patent being found. And
Yeah.
what I automatically presumed or thought it should be, because do you ever remember actually headphones at a less than a 3.5 mil size?
There's a 2.5 millimeter jack as well.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 mil.
It's 2.5, yeah.
I think that would be, if you're actually particularly worried about space, I think it was a shorter one as well as a less wide one. Would be a hell of a lot easier to fit it in. And all you would need is a simple adapter that could probably be like an inch long, if that, rather than a dongle. And you could actually just leave it on your headphones.
Yeah, I was gonna say this just sounds like dongle life, just with extra steps.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point you could have everything going over to this new standard.
But that's what we're waiting for.
And it
for
would be a hell of a
USB-C,
lot
right?
easier than an adapter.
That's
Yeah.
what we're waiting for with USB-C. We're waiting for all the headphones to adopt that standard. But it's just.
But that- And then point you need to have splitters if you want.
Interestingly enough, actually, OnePlus on one of their
OnePlus has
threads
been
a little
teasing
while
that
ago.
their new phone is keeping the headphone jack, like to no
Yes.
end.
But one of they had a thread. I'm not sure where it was. But
But yeah, OnePlus wants you to know that they're keeping
they were
the headphone jack.
talking on one of their forum threads about the headphone jack, and they were saying that they were considering putting 2 USB ports on the 5T, one for headphones and one for.
See, I'd be okay with that as well. I'd be completely
I think
fine
that
with
might be work better.
I think that would be a good idea, but I don't know.
Especially if both accepted charge, right? Stick one on the top, one on the bottom.
Charge and data.
Yeah, one on the top, one on the bottom.
So at that point,
right?
you could charge whilst using, say, a mouse with it, or you could actually then hook up a mouse and keyboard at once, and do you have a lot more freedom with what you're doing? And so, if you say you're one at the top, one at the bottom as well, and then you could have phones like that phone that had the camera at the bottom and hold it the right way up.
Oh, the Xiaomi Mi Mix.
Yep.
That was also the Sharp Aquos.
Yes, Aquos Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the argument of like just we're waiting for the transition to USB-C headphones is all well and good. But if you really wanted people to still use wired headphones, you'd put in a second USB-C port. Like that's my argument back. Right?
Honestly, the headphones that I use, where are they? Whenever I do listen to music on my phone, which at the moment isn't very often, are the Jaybird X3s.
Hey, same. Mine are downstairs. Those are the exact headphones I use.
I think they're great earphones, and I haven't had any trouble with battery life. And my dad, he goes through Bluetooth headphones like there's no tomorrow. He's probably got about 6 pairs that he uses he's always buying these ones that are like 15, 20 pounds. And he bought some Jaybirds, and he was giving me his opinion on them, and he was saying they're really good. But the battery he's had one pair of headphones that surpassed them in battery so far, but he said he's always worried about losing them. That's why he buys the cheap ones instead.
Yeah,
I'm usually worried about breaking them.
But he doesn't use his headphone jack at all on his S7 Edge, I don't think. The only thing I use mine for is on my computer with these M50Xs, and I wouldn't connect them to my phone because my phone DAC is just not good enough to listen to music with them on my phone.
Interestingly for me, I don't use my headphone jack for headphones, right? Because I have the X3s. I use it for all the accessories I have that work with the headphone jack.
Well, like the button thing they made. You remember there was a headphone jack that was, I think it was called a Pressy?
Oh, yeah. No, not that. No, I use it for like, I have microphones that plug into the headphone jack, like a lapel mic,
I see.
like a boom mic. And then I also have like a 3D printer that uses the phone. So you plug it in and then it prints off the phone. So it's like an enclosure.
Interesting.
It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I have accessories that use the headphone jack as opposed to headphones that use the headphone jack. And so for me, it's something I can't quite drop.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I suppose it depends on who you are, but I'm not so bothered about using a dongle because I really don't use headphones that much. And if it's not really a compromise to me if I have to use my Jaybirds instead of the AKGs that come with the S8 when I'm laying in bed charging my phone.
Actually, I think all three of us have tried both of those headphones, right? Paul, did you ever try those Jaybirds?
I don't think so.
I think they're great. I have tried the AKGs, and they are quite nice. But
they're very good considering bundled with a phone.
I don't know if you've used it on your S8. You've got an S8 Plus, haven't you? There's this thing.
Plus, yeah.
I forgot what it's called. It's something in the equalizer where you can adapt the sound to your ears.
Yeah, it's got an ear.
And it makes them sound a lot better, I think.
I need to play around with that.
They're just not loud enough for me, I don't think. It's just below the sweet spot where I'd like them.
I actually find they're plenty loud enough. I listen to my music quite quietly, most of the time.
Yeah.
I actually think
he actually really likes silent discos.
Yeah. I like silent music. And just, for some reason, Alexa has picked up at that point. Right, cancel.
What have you bought?
I found the quality was actually really good. A couple of points I was kind of like, yeah. But usually it was really good. The only problem I found with them was the sometimes having one in was quite painful for my ear.
Why was that? Was that because of the shape that they are?
I'm not sure. I just found having one in at a time and the sound with them, it just hurt my ear and that. If two in, fine. Sometimes one in was fine, but...
I don't think I've used them enough. But something that I know for sure is that EarPods are absolutely terrible, so I won't be using...
I want to know who the hell they fit. Like, what are their messed up ear shape that the EarPods fit them perfectly, right?
I mean, it's going to be pretty cool that they are, lightning EarPods, but that's probably the coolest thing about them. And lightning's not even really that cool because it's not USB-C. But yeah, years ago when EarPods were the best earphones that I had, I bought these things called ear skins.
Oh god!
And they went They were actually pretty cool.
I can imagine what these
were like
are,
these-
and they're already scaring me.
I mean, I can send the link in the Skype.
Like
They were like
I won't.
they
Be
were
able
like
to see, I won't be able to view it.
these.
But
But they
Well-
were like these little rubber cases that went over the earpods that sort of made them fit better in your ears, gave them some friction
let
so
me-
they would stay in.
I vaguely remember these.
Uh,
They made them for the original Apple earphones as well, before the AirPods existed. I think they still sell them even.
yeah, you can still buy them. So I'm showing them to the viewers. They should be able to see
Yeah.
the website right now. Yeah, it's just what the earpods should have looked
Should have
like,
been. Yeah.
right? Surely.
I am glad that they went with
They also-
AKGs this time instead of what came with the S7, which were like horrible earpod copies.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, this is what the Samsung things look like, right?
I think so. I think they have the rubber things on them.
Yeah. I think I've got them downstairs. Actually, I quite like the Well, I say that. I never used them more than like twice, because I just used my Jaybirds. But
Yeah.
I didn't mind them for the headphones that came with my S7 Edge. They were okay. They sounded better than AirPods, that's for sure. Or not AirPods,
Well,
AirPods.
Earpods do sound really terrible, and AirPods are the same thing.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. And I'm like, why would you pay £150 for this?
So I really don't understand why. Yeah, I don't understand why people would buy AirPods, because they don't fit in your ears very well. They're also quite expensive, and they don't sound very good either.
Well, I actually really want to disown my dad because he actually he
Good
really
start, good
didn't
start.
like his S7 Edge.
Right.
He had a few problems with it. The support didn't fix it. So in the end, Free, I think it is, actually replaced it for him. And the best deal they could do was an iPhone 6S, I believe it was.
Oh, that's a fair trade.
So he went to that. So I was already considering disowning him. Then he said how he prefers the earpods that come with iPhones, and I was like, okay, Dad, I think we need to talk. It's just like, what the? He really
Okay.
doesn't like in-ear earphones. Just
That does sort of make sense a little bit. My nan has a 6S, or she did, till she dropped it. But she quite likes the earpods as well.
I suppose older people maybe.
I think it really depends on the person.
See, what really surprises me, because my dad, I know a few years back, he kept going around trying to find some earphones that actually had the bass to listen to the music he listens to. Because he listens to a lot of brass music, because he used to play in a brass band.
Right.
And so he really doesn't like listening to music through earphones because they don't tend to offer the substance that he wants. So when he told me that he liked these earphones, I was kind of like, so this is kind of going against all that you've said you liked in earphones for years.
Yeah, it really is. But I think it depends, honestly, on the fit in your ears as well. That's the thing.
And that's the great thing about most headphones, right? Because they have a silicon tip, but you can just like get the one that's the right size. Or you can do what Apple did and make it hard plastic and one size fits all. And by one size fits all, they actually mean one size fits no one.
Yeah, they fit all kind of.
Yeah, they kind of fit all.
But they go in the ear, but
That's good enough, right?
yeah. Oh,
I love how
Sonny
this went
jokes
from
are
a
coming out
conversation
my
over the
mind right now.
headphone jack to a conversation about the headphones. Like, we've just...
Snappy Tech Podcast.
Hell yeah. Oh,
I'm just
man.
looking. I know it's off topic, not on any of the topics. I'm looking because I wanted to buy a D-brand grip when it came out,
Yep.
and holy moly, they're $34 to buy.
What? How much?
I thought because I actually bought where is it in here, the Rhino Shield, for my OnePlus 3, and I thought that was expensive at £22, and then there's the grip at $34.
Oh, because you can actually pre-order them now. That's new.
Finally,
Oh,
'cause I was
yeah,
going to
because they
buy
started
one.
the Kickstarter.
I was going to buy the grip as it, when it came out, but $34 is a little bit high, I think.
Guys, my wallet is saying something. That's a fucking ripoff.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, good point, Wallet.
It does look good though with you know, what I've seen about the grip. It does look like it's a pretty good, better than the Rhino Shield. Because the problem with the Rhino Shield is, I don't know if any of you have tried one, but the sides are really wobbly. When they're on the phone, they're like almost. It's not going to come off, but it's quite annoying because they flap around quite a bit.
I can imagine it not instilling much confidence either.
Mm. It doesn't. It's not going to come off though because it's such a pain to get off or on the phone. But it's still a bit annoying. I hope the grip doesn't have that problem. I guess I'll just wait and see.
It doesn't look like it. And if you've watched the Linus Tech Tips Scrapyard Wars,
I have.
the last episode went up today, and yesterday I think it was technically. And at the end of that video, they were chucking the phones on the floor. like at the end they tried to sell out. They were like doing like the full sellout mode, right? And so they were both teams are like, you know, putting as much D-brand stuff onto the camera as they could. And then Linus was like, get the grip because it's really strong, and chucks the phone onto the floor. But yeah, and to be fair, actually, if you were quick enough, there was actually a limited edition. There are a few limited edition things, right? So the first, you can still get it for $34.
Yeah, that's
right.
I'm looking at it right now, just how much it would be for shipping as well, because shipping to the USA and Canada is free, but everywhere else is not. So I don't know how much that's going to be.
However, that seems to be with a
skin.
With a discount. Oh, is that with a skin as well? Oh yeah,
with a discount it says, but it includes a skin, but it's quite a lot. That's the thing. To be honest with you, what I'll probably do is I'll buy one if I end up keeping the iPhone X, because I'm probably going to buy just a cheap case at first, because there's no way I'm going to use it without a case, because I've got 2 weeks, you know, the whole cooling off period thing. But I'm probably going to, if I end up keeping the iPhone X, I'll probably buy one with the custom skin pack, the $39 one.
Yep.
And just see how it is, and maybe get one for the S8 if it really is that great. Because right now for the S8, I've got a Spigen. I don't know what it is, Spigen one, but it's got a clear back and like a black bezel.
Yeah.
And that one's pretty great, but yeah, the problem with that is the clear plastic scratch is quite bad. So, I don't know.
I can imagine this case is probably actually like $50, because that's 60 for the grip and the skin. So I can imagine them taking like 10, maybe it's 40, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, and then if you're the very first person onto this Kickstarter, onto this Indiegogo,
$1.
Sorry, it's
$1.
not a Kickstarter, it's an Indiegogo. If you were number one, you got it for $1, and the perk was called The One because their Kickstarter goal was $1, which I found is hilarious.
Or yeah, so was that only? Oh, there was only one person that managed to get one for $1.
Yeah, that's why it's called The One. Right,
and the first 1,000 got it for $30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like that. 835 people have got the custom grip one.
Yep.
So, yeah, maybe I'll buy one. The packaging looks quite nice, but I think that a bit unnecessary.
And to be fair, it does. It we haven't seen much of it outside of the advert and the spots it got on the Scrapyard Wars.
So I'm gonna wait and see. Yeah,
it does seem ridiculously good, but I'm gonna again wait until I don't know, Marquez says something about it. I guess I wouldn't buy it anyway because I'm not much of a case person. The only reason I have a case on this is because it's absolutely destroyed. Right?
Is that the S7?
Yeah, this is the S7 Edge.
And late now.
It is it's a bit late now, but like the front is completely
shattered. No!
And so is the back.
Oh, actually.
Have you got the iris scanning? Because it looks like the iris scanner thing is shining right into your camera. Actually, I don't know if I told you about this. I've got a D brand on it now.
Right.
But 2 weeks after I got the S8, I managed to crack the back glass. And I didn't even drop it. Not once.
I haven't dropped it yet.
It was in this same case. And I think I managed to figure out it was leaning over tables, and the back was being put under pressure on the edge of the table that managed to crack the glass through a plastic case. So that's why I'm going to get a case straight away. for the iPhone X because I don't want that to happen because that would obviously stop me from being able to return it if I manage to break it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you've seen have you seen like every single review of it and then everyone being
tried.
like, you know, the moment you drop it, it breaks. Like,
And I think somebody said about how much it was. I think it's something ridiculous, like
$350.
$300 to repair the back, which is
Yep.
insane. I paid £60 to get my S8 back fixed, and that was in an hour and a half. So $300.
£60 is ridiculous.
That's not that bad though, considering
yeah,
it's
okay.
a brand new
Considering
phone, and you know how much other places because I've got like a phone fixed before, and it was an old iPod that was about £50 to get the front fixed, but £60 it's not that bad. I can swallow that, but not £300. You know, that's just insane.
It is slightly very painful.
Yeah, it's it's just ridiculous, and you know, it's mostly because this is Apple, right? And they know that you can't get it anywhere else, strictly speaking. And if you look at like how much Samsung charges, you know, I mean, Samsung charge like £100 or something, or maybe 150 for the back, and like 250 for the front if you also need the screen replaced. But
What's that?
So I think it's the same on the S7 and the S8.
I don't know. I think they said for the S8 it was 240 for the front, or
Yeah,
60.
so that's because 240 for the front because they also replaced the screen.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Whereas the back is it might be 60, but I remember it being sort of like £99, so 100 basically.
Yeah, they might have brought it down now. I don't know. I still think it's ridiculous that with the iPhone, because I was looking at all these different ways you could get it, because they have the Apple upgrade program as well.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that, and if you get it, there's all these different payment plans you can get, and the iPhone X starts at £56 a month for the 64 gig one, but that comes with an upgrade every year.
Yeah, but you don't have to get a contract as well. That's just for the phone.
But that also includes Apple Care Plus. But what is ridiculous about Apple Care Plus?
That's like
is
£100 deductible, and that's it.
There is a way to get it without the Apple Care Plus, which is all right. But if you, even with Apple Care Plus, they still charge you something like £50 to get the iPhone X screen replaced if you damage it, which is a bit ridiculous.
And I think that's only once per year as well, if I recall correctly.
I don't know. It says
Probably.
with Apple Care Plus included, you get 2 years of hardware repairs, blah blah blah. Each subject to an excess fee of £25 for screen replacement or £79 for any other damage. Apple Care Plus for iPhone X is £199.
Oh yeah, well I find actually on that note, that reminds me, what I find hilarious is that any other damage is more expensive than a screen replacement, right? But any other damage also includes the back glass, which theoretically should be cheaper.
Theoretically, yes.
Right?
Without the Apple Care Plus, you can actually get it without the... Yeah, we can get it without the Apple Care Plus, all the upgrades every year.
Right.
And that's £46, which is still quite a lot. I managed to get a deal on Vodafone, which is £56 a month, with a 26 gigabyte data plan for the iPhone X, which is pretty good, I think.
That's quite good.
Considering 3 are offering it something like £62 a month starting price with £250 up front. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like,
Yeah.
I think
the
it's like
price
the
of the
most
Razer
expensive
phone on
phone.
contract is ridiculous. Like well, actually ridiculous in a different way because I think it's quite cheap.
I think it is quite cheap.
Whereas-
Considering there's the cheapest plan is actually the 4 gig one, but they've matched the price to the 12 gig one.
Yes, yeah.
12 gig one is the best value one you can get now, which is £49 up front and £41 a month, which is pretty cheap. And they've still got the I know they've run out of stock on all the limited edition ones now.
Yeah, I know. I tweeted about it today. It was hilarious. So actually, I'm not. Just in case you didn't see the Twitter exchange, if you're watching this, I tweeted about it because I was thinking about it so much yesterday. I kept wanting to buy it, and my contract isn't due to expire until January.
Are you not?
Who are you with?
Who are you with? Yeah, because some plans.
I'm with Vodafone.
Some carriers
okay.
let you upgrade a few months before your plan
Yeah,
is
that's
starts.
when I'm
Yeah.
allowed to upgrade. I'm allowed to upgrade. So the actual plan ends in March, but I
So
can upgrade
you-
in Jan.
So what are you considering? Maybe dropping Vodafone and going with 3 to get the
that
Razr
too.
phone?
Yeah. But
I
here's the
suppose
thing.
you've got to see what's around then. That's the thing, because the iPhone, the S9 will be a few
Around the
months
corner.
away at that point.
Yeah, it'll be around the corner. It'll be in March.
And we have
not
such
much,
a good
February.
relationship with Samsung.
Yeah, but also, yeah, that's a good point. I don't really want to get another Samsung phone.
Just in case.
To be honest, this is my first Samsung phone because I came from a very stock Androidy past, because I had the OnePlus 1 and then the 3. That made up 3 years, and then before that I was on custom ROMs and all that on my old phones. And I was thinking, I'm really going to hate Samsung software, but it's not that terrible. It's very customizable.
It's got a lot better than it used to be. This
Without
is
a
my
doubt.
first Samsung phone, but I know the old one, not only did it look horrible.
I don't know
I'd
about
say it's
you,
iPhone
but the other day the Oreo beta sign-ups were
I
out.
signed.
and was
I
like,
sent that over to Paul, and I was like, "Do it now!" And he was like, "No."
And I did. So now my S8 is. You can't even see that.
Oreo.
You can't even see that. But yeah, it's running
Oreo.
and it's so buttery smooth. It's so nice. The stock software on it was so 7.0. That's the problem. 7.1 it got a lot better, and Samsung never upgraded the S8 to 7.1 for some reason, which is
Yeah.
frustrating. But it
Yeah.
is so much
Especially
more
'cause-
buttery smooth now.
Actually, can I
Delightful.
just go on a quick rant here?
Yeah.
So back about a year ago, they had their Nougat beta testing, right?
Yeah.
For the S7 Edge, and that thing ran 7.1. The beta testing was all on 7.1, and then they shut it down and were like, "Okay, cool, we're gonna release the final version in a couple of weeks." Everyone, including myself, was hyped. We were expecting 7.1.2. You know, you asked customer support, they said it was 7.1.2. You asked them on Twitter, they said it was 7.1.2. And then it drops and it's 7.0. And everyone's looking at me like, what the hell have you guys done here? And it then never got upgraded.
Yeah. Well, see, I found it really weird because, as a lot of people will know, my last phone was the Nexus 6P. Actually, I mentioned it earlier on.
Yeah.
So I had upgraded to Android 8 about 2 or 3 weeks before getting this. So I went from Android 8
To
to
7.
going back to 7. Yeah.
The thing is with the Oreo on the S8 is there really is no difference so far cosmetically, because it's a new version of Samsung Experience as well. I think it's Samsung Experience 9,
Yeah.
but it's really not any different. It just feels so much smoother. There are some cool things, like the edge screen has got some different colours, but there's really nothing else.
If anything, I think that's a good thing, right? The fact that they haven't changed much and they're really refining.
No. Well,
Well, I like to
it's
see
a good
something
thing,
new.
yeah.
I
is.
like to see the newness between them, even if it's not dramatic.
Yeah.
There are some little Oreo things that are cool that they've kept in, like some cool animations. But that's
But do they run at
that's
120
it, really.
frames a second?
No. But actually, speaking about that, I didn't know today until I watched whose video was it? I think it was Everything Apple Pro, because I'm getting the iPhone X. I thought, okay, may as well watch all the tip videos and all
The
that.
10, the iPhone 10.
But whatever, same thing.
X.
But he was saying apparently the input layer of the iPhone X is 120 hertz.
Yeah,
But the touchscreen, the actual display is not.
correct.
So everything feels very responsive, which I think is a cool thing.
Yeah, it responds quickly, but it's still drawn at 60 frames a second.
Yeah, so I think that's a cool thing. But
Yeah, that's something Android should probably do. Yeah, I mean, because I don't know what it does deep down, but you would have heard about it by now if it had.
getting a lot off topic there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We've really
well,
extended that
technically,
one
we
out.
did get to the iPhone X topic, just not
Was there
quite
a
how
iPhone
it's
X
meant to
topic?
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess yeah, we did end up talking again. 10. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not sure. 'Cause I'm in two minds. I either want to call it 10 or not 10. I either want to call it X all the time just to annoy people.
Yeah, that's
or
what I do.
I want to correct everyone who says X and say 10 just to annoy people. I'm
I
not sure which
started
one
off-
to do.
Yeah, I started off saying X because we wasn't sure whether it was X or 10 at first, and then when it's of course got called 10, I was just kind of like, I'm going to carry on saying X, one, because it's easier, two, because it's going to piss off so many Apple fans.
I'm really not that bothered. It's iPhone X to me because
I know, but all the Apple fanboys, it's just priceless.
I can't help but wonder where Apple thought it would be a good idea. Like, who was in that meeting? Like, where they all sat around and were like, what are we going to call the next one? Everyone went, let's call it the iPhone 10. And then someone clearly put their hand up and went, yeah, but what if instead of numbers, we just use the letter X? Like, who decided that was a good idea?
Yeah, I think the problem is Steve Jobs is not around to be in that meeting, which is kind of the problem with Apple in a lot of their products these days.
And there was a point made on Twit This Week in Tech like a year ago that sort of came, that I remembered, I guess, when the iPhone 10 was announced, was that Apple have been dropping numbers off everything, right? So the iPad, 2 or whatever it was, that they eventually dropped the number off that, so it was just the iPad.
New iPad.
The new iPad. The new MacBook, right? Even Mac
Stealing
OS,
Razor's naming.
Even OS 10 dropped the 10, right? That became Mac OS. And, iOS hasn't done it to the same extent because people just tend to refer to it as iOS and then version number. But, that, and then there were rumors that they were thinking of making the new iPhone instead of the iPhone 10. But it seems that instead they've just taken that X back, which they had just dropped off the laptops. Oh, there's a lot of ranting to do this week, damn it.
Yeah, it happens when iPhone's around.
Oh, man. But yeah, there's actually, if you want to see why I'm not getting the next Samsung, or any Samsung for that matter, there is a YouTube playlist that is consistent of like 5 videos. Let me check. Oh, hang on, there's stuff in the chat. Swardine, I thought you wanted the Pixel 2. I did. It's difficult, I'll be honest. Like, there's just so many choices. Like, the LG V30, the Pixel 2, and the Razer phone are the 3 I'm mainly looking at right now.
And the iPhone 10.
Don't get the Pixel 2 XL. It's had so many problems. Have you not heard all these problems that the Pixel 2 XL
We've spoke about it in the show.
Yeah, we spoke about it. However, the thing for me is these are mostly manufacturing issues which will be gone by January, right?
Well,
which actually, no, hang on, scratch that. Not will be gone by January. Most of them already are, because it was only the review units primarily that had the burn-in issues.
I was speaking to some guy that was behind me in the line, who I think he was Spanish. It's like, he said that people travelled really far for the Razer.
Oh yeah,
but
anyway, scrub the podcast layout for like 2 seconds. I just want to apologise to anyone who's watching this. Okay, it's back again. Carry on.
But anyway, he was saying, I was asking, is that the Pixel 2 XL? He said, yeah, it is. I said, have you had the issues? And he said, he was saying about the obvious blue tint issue,
every screen does that though.
I could see it is considerably worse though with the Pixel 2 XL, because he got out his iPhone and he compared that to it, and it did look quite a bit worse. But I don't think it's really a deal breaker. It's more of the burn-in issue actually, and the horrible sRGB. I really don't like sRGB.
The color thing that's definitely a software fix, right? And they said they're gonna issue more profiles. And I think if you're on the Oreo beta, you can already use the different profiles. And it very much reminds me of the Essential phone in the sense that, they got it so wrong with all of the influences, where, right, the camera software was absolutely horrible for all the review units. But those issues were fixed within 2 weeks. If you get
the camera on the Pixel 2 is one thing that looks absolutely fantastic.
Without a doubt. But if you like get an Essential phone right now, the camera is fine. It's a really good phone. Leo Laporte, the host of Twit, bought the Essential phone like when it was first announced, and he was saying like all of the camera issues were fixed within like 2 weeks of the phone being released, but no one cares. It's already too late. Like all the reviews were being made, and
this was what happened, I think, when the HTC 10 came out.
Yeah,
and the camera, everybody said the camera was so terrible, but then later it got better. But by that time it was too late, and everybody had moved on to different phones. Which I think was the S7 Edge and the iPhone 6 or 7 at the time. So yeah, this is the thing. It's if you get it wrong straight away, it's too late by that time.
And to be fair to Essential, they've dropped the price by $200, right? So it's now $500. And then if you get it at like Best Buy, it's 50 less.
Does it have the 835 as well?
It's full. It is a flagship phone.
For 2017,
it is a steal of a price. And when they're expected to come to the UK by the end of the year, so I think that might also be on in that list of contention. Because if it is, £450 or whatever it ends up costing, that is a ridiculously cheap phone for me to pass up.
I think at 700 it was just like a no-brainer
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
the
at
reason,
450, yes.
Yeah. The reason I got the S8, because the OnePlus 3, it was a very nice phone, but the problem I had with it was the mic quality was terrible. It had really aggressive noise cancellation.
Yes, yeah.
And it made videos sound really bad, and the audio distorted quite a bit.
Apparently, Samsungs have that as well, but to a lesser extent. I mean, I don't.
It's pretty good. I've tried it so far, and it's pretty good.
But the Note 8 definitely does it, but I think they do it to a lesser. And I run a custom ROM, so I have no idea. But apparently, from what I've heard, they do it as well, but to a lesser extent.
I mean, the reason I got the S8 was it seemed to me like the best phone of the year, even though it was 6 months old. It was better than anything that was out so far. If I hadn't got the S8 then, I would have got the Razer phone.
Yeah. See, if my problem was my phone came up or was going to go into the next year by around 26th of October. So it would have been a week or so before the Razer event. Actually, about 5 days or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a week or so after the Honor Mate 10 Pro was released.
Yep.
That
also looks like, we discussed this on my podcast, that also looks like a decent phone.
Yeah, it looks like a very good phone. Yeah. It just wouldn't have been cheaper.
I sat next to, I'm not sure if you're aware of him, his name's Mobile Dom on Twitter. I was sitting next to him.
Rings a bell.
It's Domenico Lamberti, his name is, on Twitter.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to him in the Razer event, and he had the Mate 10 Pro because he went to Barcelona to see the release, and he got one there because I can't remember which publication he writes for now, but it did look like a really nice phone, and he was pointing out to me it was something that they were talking about, and he was like, "This is the first." Min Lang was saying, "This is the first flagship phone this year that
4,000 milliamp hours.
Yeah,
something like that." And Dom sitting next to me was like,
"No, I was
if Huawei has it. If Huawei has this already."
To be fair,
I obviously read the presentation a few weeks ago.
Yeah, to be fair to them, right? There's like a 1 week gap there.
Yeah. Well, because as soon as he did say it, I was like okay. I think there was a couple of phones that got like 3,900 or something. But I was straight away, and I did actually say to George after and reminded him that the Mate 10 Pro does have 4,000, so it's not the first one. It like most people wouldn't probably realise it because it's not a high profile phone. But at the same point, there's enough people that will probably pull him up on that.
Yeah.
And it's slightly irritating. Bit of PR stunting.
I still
really.
think it's a great phone though, and I definitely would have got one if it hadn't been for the S8 that I bought. And the only reason I got it was because it was still the best phone of the year even when I got one a month ago. The LG G6 was a bit of a flop. I would have loved to get a V30, but they're just not available in this country.
Yeah, well, when I did it, it was like a month.
The V30s. They are now. They weren't at the time.
Oh, yeah, they are now.
Yeah. You can get them in Carphone Warehouse.
Oh, that's so annoying.
You've been able to get them you could pre-order it a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I upgraded my phone a month before the contract was meant to end, and when I called them, I was fully expecting not to stay with EE, to move on to free and probably get a Huawei or on a phone. And when I called them up, and they said they couldn't give me a good deal on the P 10 Plus, I think it was, but they could give me a really good deal on the Samsung. And like Samsung themselves allowing them to give the good deals, then they knocked like another £7 off, charging me nothing up front and all that. And I was just like, at 36 quid a month, nothing up front, and with all that, I just could not turn down what is arguably the best phone of the year before the Note 8. And it's basically the same as the Note 8, the Plus, just missing a stylus.
Yeah.
So,
Which to some people consider that a better thing, and to be fair.
I'd rather the battery, frankly.
I'm looking at Carphone Warehouse now just to see.
Yeah, so the V30 is £800 up front.
Oh, holy moly. This is insane.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So the Pixel 2 XL, about £800. The V30, about £800. Which is why I was considering the Razer phone instead, because it's just so much cheaper.
It's about the same price as the Razer phone. If you look on Carphone Warehouse, you can get the the V30 on Vodafone with 16 gigs of data. Vodafone, it's not that great, but you can get it on Vodafone for £44 a month, £29 up front.
You can, however, what I will say is that I personally tear through data at a rate that you wouldn't believe.
I don't use that much anymore. That's the thing.
So I use about.
It's a nightmare.
Paul probably knows. I rip through data to the extent I've had Vodafone call me before and ask me if I've got ransomware or something installed on my phone that is just killing my data usage.
The amount of times he used to tell me how he was going over data and paying so much more a month.
Yeah, I've stopped recently because they because I spoke to Vodafone at one point and they offered me for £5 a month more. They added 20 gigs onto my allowance, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
That is 20 gigs for £5. That is more than good.
Exactly, right?
Wow,
they're probably we've made enough money off you anyway. We just pity you at this point.
Yeah, I think you've paid enough for data over the past couple of years. You can have a bunch for free.
Yeah, so yeah, I was lucky to get that. But the thing for me is, if I was to get it, I would get the unlimited data, right? Because I kind of need it.
See, I only have free. Because
which I consider crazy, because that in my head that is a ridiculously low amount of data to have.
I used to have 5, but EE do 2 tariffs when it comes to data. You can either have the normal 4G, which I would have had 5 gig of, or you get the 4G Max, which I get 3 gig of. But I get 24 months of BT Sport for free, included with the contract. I get. And I'll get their maximum speed, so up to 90 megasecond or something.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, you know what? The speeds don't really matter. I'm not going to really make use of them while I'm out and about. But BT Sport for 24 months, I think I can suffer 2 gig less, considering I only got through a gig a month anyway. Because I don't actually go anywhere on public transport where I need to entertain myself. I'm usually in the car. And I have Spotify Premium, I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, I can download all the media I need.
Yeah, I don't know, I just end up using so much data, all the time, but it's ridiculous. It's just crazy. Because, I'm looking at the deals now, right? The V30 with 30 gigabytes of data on O2 is £50 a month, which is basically the same as the Razer phone with unlimited data. And I'm I need that because I will use at least 100 gigabytes per month.
How do you manage to do that though? Do you tether your phone a lot?
Surprised.
Do you tether your phone a lot though?
Tell him how much data you got through in Georgia for 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I was in Georgia for 3 weeks, right? Georgia, the country, not the state.
Yeah.
So they have one of their mobile carriers has unlimited data for a month, right? So we paid, I think it was £50 or something. It was ridiculously cheap, I will say that, right? Because £50 for unlimited data. And we were using that non-stop because we didn't have any broadband out there. So I was using it for everything, including the podcast, right? So I was live streaming this. I was using it for standard data. I was using it to watch YouTube videos in 4K, right? So over the course of 3 weeks,
that makes sense, yeah.
We used 350 gigabytes or something.
That makes sense, yeah. But I don't know. I guess most of the time my phone's on Wi-Fi. When I'm at work, I'm on Wi-Fi. When I'm at home, I'm on Wi-Fi. Most of the places I'm on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I don't tend to use a lot. I'm not going to be out watching YouTube.
I use it a lot for uploading videos as well.
But how do you tether your phone a lot? Because in this country, You say you're on Vodafone. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what their policy on tethering is. But I don't. The only thing on my phone since the 1st of November I think that was when I put the Oreo thing on. It's saying since the 1st of November, I've used 2.3 gigabytes of data, and 1.18 gigabytes of that was mobile hotspot and tethering.
So since the 1st of November, I've
Yeah.
used 14 gigabytes, and
How have you managed?
zero of that was tethering.
Guess how much I've used since first?
Nothing, basically.
Practically. Guess how many meg?
Like
I'd say about
300.
200.
Basically 300. 294.
Hey!
So how the heck do you manage to get through 14 gigs of data? What is your?
Should I look at my usage? Should I tell you?
That's insane.
Let me check. Hang on. Connections, data usage. Where is it?
I mean, I've got through like 47 gig on Wi-Fi since 8th of October. And actually, even that was partially when I did the vlog. I think that probably counts the uploads from that.
Yeah.
Which was probably about 10 gig of that.
So I've used 10 gigabytes because I uploaded a video a couple of days ago, right? The Razer event. Everything I filmed there, so that was 10 gigabytes because that was the final product, right? Because all our videos are in 4K, they're like 100 meg per second. So we end up with like a 5-minute video and it's like 100 megs, 10 gigs even. But so that video was about 10 gigabytes. And then every photo and video I've taken since November 1st is also backed up to the cloud, which also happens over mobile data. So Google Photos has taken up about 3 gigabytes.
Mine's about 11
right?
on
And
only on
that's in
Wi-Fi.
4 days, right? This is like 4K video and photos. And then the next highest is Snapchat, because everything I film on Snapchat is also uploaded to the cloud, right? And then there's YouTube as number 4, right?
That's pretty insane.
And that's 1440p video that I watch on my phone, and that's about 500 megs. So, I haven't actually been out much this week. So this is actually quite low usage for me.
Yeah. See, Charlie, while you was gone a minute ago, I was saying that because I drive, I don't use data.
That will be me soon
Swadine
enough,
said 300. Like, how do you use only that? But because most of the time I'm out, or if I'm traveling somewhere, I'm in my car. So I have Spotify Premium, so I don't need to download anything. If I do, it's an album, which is only like a couple hundred meg usually. But usually it's on my Wi-Fi that I download stuff. If I do want to consume media while I'm out, it's usually, like if it's Netflix or Amazon Prime, I have both of them. I can download it beforehand if I know I'm going to watch stuff. So usually the biggest download that I have is just downloading Snapchat. I don't tend to flick through Facebook while I'm out, or Instagram. Sometimes I'll flick through Twitter, but there's not much pictures on that. It's mostly text stuff. So yeah, and usually once I'm at a place, unless I'm waiting for someone, which is usually maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes of really light
a quick
usage.
Scroll through Twitter or something like that. Yeah.
So I don't need my internet. So when EE said you can take 5 gig of data, or you can take 3 gig, get our maximum speed, 24 months of BT Sport for free. And as well, you can actually use it for tethering if you want to, which I wouldn't want to anyway, in this really weird scenario. I was like, yeah, I'll happily take 2 gig less just to get free BT Sport. That was like a no-brainer for me, really.
Not a chance. Not even slight. Not even remote. Only
I'm on
consider
30 gigs of data this plan, and that was the only reason I did that was because it was the cheapest plan they did for the S8. Because I went through Uswitch, which has got really cheap contracts. Actually, if you're looking to get a new contract, have a look on there because they've got some really good deals. That's where I got my iPhone X
I
contract.
think I did actually look through Uswitch as well as Carphone Warehouse, but yeah, in the end, I got it directly through their is it retainal team or whatever?
I don't know.
Retainment team. Yeah,
but yeah, they've got some good deals on there. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
how long is this?
It's been about an hour and a quarter. So I reckon one more topic and then we can call it a show. So Charlie,
Let's just go on to the next show.
as our guest, this is live. We can't this is going out live. We're gonna have to.
I know.
We'll have to wait until next week for the next show. So Charlie, as you're the guest for this week, right? You get to pick. Do you want to talk about Donald Trump or Amazon sneaking into your house?
That's a very difficult one. I think I'd like to talk about Amazon sneaking into your house.
Okay.
So I did a lot about this. I'd like to learn some more about this.
So Amazon this week, last week actually, technically, because it happened during the week we had off. Which reminds me, really, really quickly before we get into this, we do take one every 8-ish episodes off. The next off is actually coming up around Christmas. However, the plan is for Christmas Day, we're going to have a pre-recorded episode. So
Christmas
me,
Eve.
Paul, maybe a couple of guests. Oh, is it Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
So me, Paul, maybe a guest or two will record it like a day or two prior to the actual Sunday, and that will be uploaded. And then on New Year's Eve, our plan is to have a best of show. So it'll be all the best bits of the show this year.
So it'll probably be a 5-minute show.
Yeah, probably like 30 seconds. There'll be like one clip.
Actually, there's
maybe.
quite a lot of good moments in the streams.
Yeah, we've had a couple of good moments, I think. So yeah, those are the plans for the next, not for the next 2 weeks, but like for episodes. I think it works out to be like 24 or something, like episode 23 maybe, something like that. So for those 2 episodes, one will be pre-recorded and will not be live, and the other one will be a best bits montage for New Year's Day or New Year's Eve.
Well, there's 6 more between now and New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So what's it? 18. So that'd be
23 and
25. It'll be 25 New Year's Eve.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Cool.
So yeah, that's the plan. Just so you know, that's when we're. But yeah, so once every 8-ish weeks, we tend to take the episode off. So we did that last week. We lasted it for like episode 11. We actually had a really late first run.
Yeah.
It just gives us the opportunity to take a week off, relax.
Yeah.
Have a social life,
Mm.
which I don't do anyway.
Yeah, I was going
but
to
yeah.
say, like, how unrealistic is this week off?
I know, right?
I know the next one off is at Christmas, but
So
or kind of off.
So, Amazon announced a service called Key during the week we were off. And basically, if you have a smart lock and their new Amazon Cloud camera, when you order a delivery and you're not home, you can let the Amazon delivery person open your front door to deliver your package.
No way.
So, like,
So I have a couple of questions on this. First of all, it's implying that you already had the smart lock and camera, right? But you didn't have to buy it. Would you opt into this service?
possibly. See, I think we should probably explain how it works anyway.
We can, but I want to know your opinion on this first, and we can circle back around to that.
I think that with the way they're doing it, then I would, but it'll be on a day, like I'd first try it on a day that I know I'm home.
Right.
That way, I can. Of course, I'd make sure my dog's out of the way because a random person coming into my house, my dog will not like at all.
The problem is, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You carry on.
I was just gonna say, but I would definitely try it on a day where I am home, just so I can see what the guy's doing, even if he doesn't realise I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, I was watching. No, I was on Twitter, and some guy tweeted. I can't remember who it was. It was Justin Say, JTech Apple, and he tweeted a screenshot of a message conversation with his UPS driver or something. He said, "Oh, my UPS driver is amazing." He texted Justin saying, "Your iPhone X is here," which, sure, great. I'd like to have a relationship like that with my whoever delivers. But the thing is, you've got so many different ones here. But
I personally have a decent relationship with our delivery people. Actually,
that's the thing. If you have a good relationship with, or a friendship with the person that delivers your parcels, then yeah, maybe. but it could be a different person every time. And I don't think I'd like different people coming into my house, even just to leave a parcel in the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to explain
Yeah,
how
go for it.
Okay, so for people that don't know, the way the system works is, as George mentioned, you'll have a compatible smart lock, and you will have a Amazon key camera, a cloud key camera, is it?
Mm.
Yeah,
So
whatever it's
basically,
called.
yeah. So basically, the driver shows I think it's like a barcode or something to the camera. The camera recognizes that as an Amazon employee, and then it sends off to the cloud system to get the lock to unlock, and then the guy gets on his phone, a thing, just simple swipe to unlock, and then he gets to allow himself in. And throughout all of this, the camera records a clip for you to actually watch back afterwards, so you can see what the delivery driver's
You can also see
doing.
it live. I will point that out. You can also watch
Yeah,
live.
you can see
Yes.
it live.
Not
or
only
watch-
that, but I'd like to see from inside the house. So you'd obviously may have to have more than one camera.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the way the system will work is that, or where it's placed, maybe that you can see what he's doing inside. I think
Yeah.
being able to simply see outside, to see how long he's taken, is an important thing.
I think
But to trust someone inside my house, I need to see where they're going. If
That-
it was a house
it
with
is-
a porch, a lockable porch, then perfect.
yes.
It is worth
Um,
mentioning that camera is an internal. It's an inside camera. It's not for mounting outside.
Oh, is it
So,
not?
so you'd
Yeah.
mount it like behind the door as such.
Oh, I
So
see.
you-
They
so-
said about the barcode thing, about it scans.
So they
Maybe
do
there's
that like
a little camera
they-
on the lock.
No. They scan the package as they would normally. So that
Oh,
then
okay,
like
it was on the phone.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
so they
yeah,
do it, like,
didn't
with their
make it
phone.
clear.
not with
Oh,
like
okay, yeah. So
So they scan it
I-
to say I've got the package and I'm at the door, and then you get a notification on your phone saying the person's at the door. Should I unlock it for them?
Mm,
okay, yeah.
that's very
But-
yeah, but I mean, even then, yeah, the lockable porch would be ideal. Actually.
Yeah. See,
But,
when
like-
I actually heard it, I actually thought I won't. At my new house, I don't have a porch. I wouldn't trust someone being able to gain access to my entire house from this. Whereas if you have a porch, like I know George at your
Yes,
house,
yeah.
so you do have a porch door that can be locked. So if in those circumstances, I would fully trust them, especially because I know that there will be a camera there to see what they're doing, and they're only trusting their own delivery drivers at the moment. That's the big thing. They've said it's only available in the US at the moment, and there's only like 40 cities where they have their own
End to
logistics
end.
team.
Yeah.
To actually delivering it to your door. So it's going to be a while before we get in the UK. I don't know whether they've said any expectation date to here, but I think fully it depends on how well it goes over there, whether people have issues with
This
these
is the thing.
drivers.
Yeah, if I don't think, even though you might be able to see everything that they're doing, people still commit crimes when they're being watched by CCTV, and they
Yeah.
think, they often still do get away with it, and that's the thing. I don't think. Maybe not so with Amazon, because they know who all their delivery drivers are.
And
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lot
I think
harder to
that's
get
the
away with as
important
well, even then.
But I
right?
still
Yeah.
don't know if I
First
could
of all,
trust
because you're
them,
on file as the person delivering the thing. Second of all,
Exactly,
you're
and
on
you can
video.
only be the person with that.
Yeah,
Mm.
second of all, you're the person, you're like on video, right? And it's not like you know where the camera is. You can't scope it out in the same way you'd scope out CCTV, unless you'd already delivered there a bunch of times.
Yeah, so I think that's the important thing. If they do it, unless because they said they may at some point give it out to other companies to be able to use. But if they stay with just their logistics team, it's people that are all contracted to them or have some sort of paperwork there to know who exactly they are. They should all be some kind of background checked, even if that's just sort of the equivalent of like a DBS check or something like that. So these people, if they want to steal something, then, well, for one, they know they're on camera. They know they're on file, and unless you give your Amazon or like the device you scan it on to a friend, tell them all the passwords and stuff to unlock it, then it's only going to be you doing it. And I don't think anyone would risk
I think
giving it away.
thinking about it, you know, when you order something on Amazon and they say they've got delivery instructions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there is a box to enter. You know, if you live in a
yeah.
apartment complex, you can enter the PIN code to get in. You know, which is sort of similar.
Yeah, see,
And you
'cause
can
actually at this
can
point, you
revoke
could probably
this
do that.
access at any point, right? So if even if it's like en route and then you decide actually I want it delivered normally, you can revoke it at any point up until
That's
the
a good
point
thing.
without actually like physically at the door.
Yeah.
So you can say, you know, like actually, you know, if and they'll always knock first, right? So they always make sure the house is empty first. So if they knock and you go to the door because you happen to be home even though you thought you might not be, then that will always happen. I've just realised I'm looking more and more dead as this goes on. I should have done this for our Halloween special. My light is currently running out of battery power. So I'm going to have to look at this. It's not as bright as it once was. So I've kind of
Yeah.
faded. I need to go grab
Do you
another
know-
battery.
Having said that, they knock first, but I know the delivery drivers I have, I know they're not through Amazon themselves, but the delivery drivers that I always have are very impatient. So I can see them waiting way too little time and then just getting straight on to going to unlock the door.
I have no,
I know, of course,
personally,
it'll
I have
take,
no issue
they'll
with that
probably
anyway,
get to the door
even if I am home.
by then, but yeah, but it's just kind of like, can you just wait a little bit longer? It'll just make that slight annoyance even more slightly annoying.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get the other battery for this light. I'll be right back.
I still don't know if I could handle that. You know, I think it's actually not so bad that right now at the moment when we have stuff delivered, most of the time we're not here and it goes around the back. You know, next to the
Yeah.
bins or whatever.
See,
And-
I'm worried at my new house because at my current house it's a small close and there's usually someone home somewhere in these 10 houses and they usually find someone pretty easily. I'm really worried at my new house that I'm not going to have someone to deliver it to because next to my house is on the end next to an alley into a park. So for people to put it round the back of my house, I'd need to give them access to my back gate, which needs to be locked most of the time.
you
because
don't want
it's
it
got
to be
access from the
thrown
park.
over the back gate.
Yeah.
Are you
So
ready
that's
for this
happened
difference?
So many times.
So this is me currently, right? If I take
It's
out
going to
this
be
battery-
horrifying because I'm going to see your face.
I know. So this is it. Oh, bloody hell. And then this is it at full blast. You can actually see me again.
So just
the background.
curiously,
Yeah.
what webcam do you have or are you using?
I'm using the Logitech C922 HD.
I'm using the C920,
Right.
and the only light that I have is that one in the ceiling and my two monitors that are lighting up my face.
Right.
So you must be in a very dark room and or
Yeah, there's
have
no
low
light in the
screen
room at all.
brightness.
The lights are up there. They're literally off. This
Yeah.
is literally the only... Like, if I turn this off, like, it's literally this
That's
level of
very
light.
dark. So even if I turn this light off, you know, you can still maybe it's because I've got bright screens. I don't know.
Oh, I've got exposure set to manual. So if I hit this back to... Hang on, let me...
Oh,
There
I
you are.
see.
That's why.
Right.
But yeah, so the reason is I have like a bunch of crap in the background.
Oh.
That I just like by having this light as my only light source, it gets rid of it all.
You're very, very white now.
Yeah, let me fix this. There we are. So that
It looks
kind
like someone's playing with the hue.
Yeah. God damn it, Paul. So yeah, this
Do you have
drops.
a
Aptech Blue.
Do you have a Logitech camera as well?
Yes.
He has my
Yeah.
old camera.
Which one?
No,
is
I
the
don't.
old-
That
Oh,
one
you got-
broke. So I
Oh,
have a
that's-
tiny old one that my mum bought like 5 years ago that she doesn't use anymore. So it's stuck in my drawer.
It
I
doesn't
don't
look
even
that
know what
bad,
it is.
actually.
It's
That's
it's meant to
Skype for
be
ya.
720p, but it just doesn't.
The
Right.
best thing about the C920, my favorite, is the autofocus. Like,
Oh, I have it turned
Okay.
off constantly because it's always a pain. It's so bad. So bad. Anyway, Paul, Charlie, this has been a great show. We went on for like basically an hour and a half. We had some great topics of conversation. It was a lot of fun. Charlie, if people want to find out more about you, if people want to learn everything that is Charlie, where do they go? How do they do it? Tell everyone.
Just go to my Twitter that you can see on the show page right now. That is right, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. So it's on screen. It should be. I'm not sure if it's actually in the description of this video actually. So it will be. It is
the
also
link
in
to
the show
my
notes.
YouTube is on my Twitter, but I haven't made videos in close to a year now. I think it's over a year, but I tweet fairly often. Spend a lot of time on Twitter, not as much as I used to. But if you want to message me anything, sure, I'm up for it. I don't know if you saw my tweet of the selfie with the guy from the Razer event.
Yes, I did. I was actually going to reply to that tweet and ask if you had auto HDR turned on, because that's what that does.
I know.
That's what does it.
Total failure from the S8 there.
If you have HDR turned on, that's why. That'll be precisely the reason.
But yeah, so Twitter is where I hang about, and when I buy new stuff, that's pretty much where I tell everybody. Like my shameful iPhone X purchase.
How could you, absolute monster? I hope we get Greg Morris on next week, because his arrived like the first. He was up and got it like first thing, so he got it on Friday and he's been tweeting about it. So hopefully we'll get him on next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
Paul, you're a regular. Where do people find you? Let them, make sure they don't forget.
Well, I am just a wild stubbers, so they'll probably find me in the wild of my bedroom. But if that fails, you can find me on snpy.tech/Paul, which is basically, it just has a button to link you to my Twitter, where I am very active now. So if you mention me in anything, I will probably respond pretty quickly. And I do tweet occasionally, sometimes boring stuff, but quite often interesting, weird, stupid, funny, random crap, basically.
And then me and
it's
Paul
usually entertaining.
Me and Paul tend to be in sync quite a lot. A lot more on Twitch chat than like Twitter. But like you might find moments where like it's just like hilarious. But like one of us will say something and then like the other one will like say it like 2 seconds later, having not previously colluded this thing. Like it's just ridiculous.
Well, the other week, we was in our friend's Twitch chat. Go to snpy.tech/Emily to see her Twitch. We were actually sitting next to each other and pressing the buttons at the same time, typing the exact same thing. Then, like a week later, we weren't together, but we did messages several times where they were practically the same, and we were saying them 2 seconds apart, and it was
crazy.
scary.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh man, it is scary how many times in between Twitter, Twitch, Facebook Messenger, or in person we just say things at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm scared to think I'm actually like you.
So
before the show ends, actually, if anyone wants to know more about the Razer phone, Richard Devin or Ricka666 on Twitter is tweeting a lot about the Razer phone because he's actually got one.
That guy tweets about everything. That guy's great.
So I've been watching a lot of his Twitter much recently because he's tweeting about the Razer phone a lot, and he's just been tweeting about the Arena of Valor game. That's fun.
That is spelled RICKER 666. That guy is. I think he's. I love him. He's great. Oh my god! Shut up. That guy's great. If you like this show, if you want to see it live, we are live every Sunday at 8 p.m. GMT now, because it's no longer BST. So 8 p.m. GMT every Sunday. So, well, most Sundays. You'll be told beforehand if we're not live that particular Sunday. We're definitely live
probably
next week.
10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, probably about 10 minutes prior. But we are live next week, so come join us at snpy.tech/live. If you don't want to watch a video version, or maybe you just want to listen on demand, there is the podcast version, snpy.tech/podcast podcast or /iTunes if you're on an Apple device and want it in iTunes instead. From what I hear, the iOS 11 version of the iTunes podcasting app is really, really bad. So you may not want the iTunes version. Just use like Podbean or Beyond.
Are you
Pod.
on Pocket Casts? Because that
We are. Yes,
is
we
a
are on
great
Pocket Casts.
podcast app.
We're on
Excellent.
we're on any podcast aggregator. So if you go into any podcast app and type in Snappy Tech, it will come straight up.
Excellent.
So you can do that live every Monday at 8 p.m. Go check out the guests. Go check out the podcast. We have a video coming next week that we did in conjunction with Conquer, because Conquer are great. The video is going to be so good. I am just wrapping up editing now, and it is such a good video. You guys are going to love it, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for that one. However, we shall see you guys next week, where I'll have probably Paul and then probably some other guests. We'll
maybe
see.
if I'm invited again, I'll come on
well,
again.
that's-
Yeah, we'll
That's
probably get
assuming
Charlie
I
back.
haven't packed up my computer by then.
I definitely want Ben on here at some point, right? So go check out Lover of Tech. Go tell him that you were listening to the podcast and he'd be a great fit for our show. Go tweet him right now.
Yes,
it's
with
at-
all the phones that
Yes,
he has, he'd be great
with
for the
every
podcast.
phone. His Twitter is. Hang on, let me pull up his Twitter. Let's spam this guy. His Twitter account is. Let me pull it up. Oh God, it is at LOT Reviews BA. So LOT is in Lover of Tech Reviews, and then BA, which is his initials, Benjamin
Boang.
Aboagi.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's
That's
Aboagi.
it. I don't know.
So
But yeah.
go tweet him and go tell him that he should be on the podcast right now.
As a thank you for the mouse.
Yeah, for that reason alone. However, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed doing it. It was a great show, and we shall see you, well, during the video like next week. But outside of that, we shall see you next Sunday at 8 p.m. if you're here live. Bye.